You've decided you want a BYD. Smart decision. But now comes the question that's tripping up thousands of buyers right now. Do you go full electric or do you go with BYD's hybrid? It sounds simple. It isn't. The answer depends on where you live, how you drive, what your home charging situation looks like, and what you're actually optimizing for. I've done the analysis. Today, I'm breaking it down across 10 key factors and giving you the framework to make the right call for your specific situation. Let's go. Welcome back. Today's video is a practical buyer's guide. BYD's DMI plug-in hybrid system versus BYD's pure electric vehicles. We're going factor by factor, counting down from 10 to 1, and at the end, I'll give you a clear decision framework based on everything we've covered. Whether you're considering a BYD Atto 3 Electron Volts versus an Atto 3 PHEV, a BYD Seal versus a Han DMI, or a Song LEV versus a Song Plus DMI, this framework applies to all of them. Factor number 10. Upfront purchase price. In general, BYD's DMI plug-in hybrid models are priced lower than their equivalent pure EV counterparts. Take the BYD Song Plus as an example. The DMI plug-in hybrid variant in China starts at approximately 149,800 yuan, just under $21,000 USD. The equivalent Song Plus EV starts at approximately 169,800 yuan. That's a roughly $2,700 USD difference at the entry level, and it widens in higher specification trims. Why is the hybrid cheaper? Because the DMI system uses a smaller battery, typically 15 to 18 kilowatt hours, compared to the 60-plus kilowatt-hour battery in a full EV. Battery cells are still the most expensive component of an electric vehicle, so a smaller battery means a lower manufacturing cost, which translates to a lower retail price. Verdict on this factor: hybrid wins on upfront purchase price, typically by $2,000 to $5,000 depending on the model and market. Factor number 9. Total cost of ownership over 5 years. This is where things get more nuanced. A full EV has zero fuel costs. You pay only for electricity. A plug-in hybrid has both electricity costs, for the electric portion, and gasoline costs, for the hybrid portion. If you charge your DMI hybrid daily and primarily drive within its electric range, your fuel costs will be minimal. BYD's DMI system is designed to maximize electric driving. The Song Plus DMI has 110 kilometers of pure electric range, which covers the daily driving of the vast majority of owners without using any gasoline at all. However, on longer trips or if you fail to charge regularly, the gasoline engine kicks in and you're paying for fuel. Over a typical 5-year ownership period with mixed driving, a BYD full EV will generally result in lower total energy costs than the DMI hybrid, particularly if you can charge at home with relatively cheap overnight electricity. But the full EV's higher upfront price partially offsets the fuel savings. The exact crossover point depends heavily on local electricity prices, gasoline prices, and your specific driving patterns. In markets with cheap electricity and expensive gasoline like Australia, the pure EV has a stronger total cost case. Verdict: pure EV typically wins on 5-year total cost of ownership, but the margin varies significantly by market and usage. Factor number 8. Range anxiety. This is the single most commonly cited reason buyers choose a plug-in hybrid over a pure EV, and it deserves a direct and honest answer. The BYD DMI plug-in hybrid eliminates range anxiety completely. Full stop. With 110 kilometers of pure electric range plus a total combined range electric plus gasoline exceeding 1,200 kilometers, you can drive the Song Plus DMI from Sydney to Melbourne and back without charging, using the gasoline engine when needed. You never have to worry about being stranded with a dead battery because you always have gasoline as backup. A BYD full EV, say, the Atto 3 with 420 WLTP kilometers, is genuinely sufficient for the vast majority of daily driving. If you charge at home every night, you start every day with a full battery. But on long road trips, you are dependent on the public charging network, and in some markets, that network is still developing. The psychological comfort of having a gasoline backup is real and not irrational, particularly for buyers in markets with sparse charging infrastructure or for those who take frequent long-distance trips. Verdict: DMI hybrid wins decisively on range anxiety elimination. Pure EV is sufficient for most daily use, but requires charging infrastructure comfort for long trips. If you're going back and forth on this decision, drop a comment below with your situation, where you live, how you drive, and I'll give you a direct recommendation. I read every comment. Factor number 7. Home charging situation. If you have a home charger, even a standard 10 amp domestic outlet, both BYD's full EVs and DMI hybrids work beautifully for daily driving. You plug in overnight and wake up with a full battery. The difference is that a full EV is more dependent on home charging than a DMI hybrid. Without regular home charging, a full EV owner will spend significantly more time at public chargers. A DMI hybrid owner who doesn't have home charging can still use the vehicle primarily on gasoline, losing the EV cost advantage but retaining full functionality. If you live in an apartment without access to dedicated home charging, this is a serious consideration. DMI hybrid flexibility matters much more in that scenario. If you have a house with a garage and a charging point or plan to install one, a pure EV works excellently. Verdict: full EV strongly favors buyers with home charging. DMI hybrid is more flexible for those without reliable home charging access. Factor number 6. Environmental impact. A pure BYD EV charged on a reasonably clean electricity grid produces substantially lower lifecycle carbon emissions than any hybrid. The full EV has no tailpipe emissions and no ongoing combustion. Over a typical 200,000-kilometer vehicle lifetime, the carbon advantage of a BYD pure EV over the DMI hybrid is significant and real. The DMI hybrid is dramatically cleaner than a conventional ICE vehicle, but it is not as clean as a pure EV, used primarily on electric power. However, and this is important, a DMI hybrid owner who charges daily and stays within the electric range for 90% of their driving will have a carbon footprint very close to a pure EV owner. The environmental gap between the two BYD options is smallest when the hybrid is used as intended, charged daily, and driven primarily electrically. Verdict: pure EV wins on environmental impact, but the gap narrows significantly with disciplined daily charging of the DMI hybrid. Factor number 5. Maintenance costs. Pure EVs have a significant advantage here. No oil changes, no timing belt, no exhaust system, no transmission fluid, no spark plugs, no catalytic converter. An EV has dramatically fewer moving parts subject to wear, and therefore dramatically lower scheduled maintenance costs. BYD's pure EVs, like all pure EVs, benefit from this reduced mechanical complexity. The DMI hybrid has a gasoline engine, albeit a simple Atkinson cycle engine optimized for efficiency rather than performance, which requires periodic oil changes, air filter replacements, and eventual servicing of engine components. These costs are real, but modest compared to a conventional ICE vehicle, because the DMI engine operates in a narrow, efficient RPM range, and is not the primary driver of the vehicle most of the time. Still, maintenance costs are higher for the hybrid than for the pure EV. Verdict: pure EV wins clearly on long-term maintenance costs. Factor number 4. Charging speed and convenience. Pure BYD EVs support DC fast charging at up to 150 kilowatts, meaning a 30-minute charge session can add several hundred kilometers of range. The DMI hybrid, with its smaller 1.5 18 kilowatt-hours battery, charges more quickly. At home, a standard outlet can fully charge the battery overnight, but has lower DC fast charging capability because the battery is smaller. The hybrid's smaller battery is fully charged in 3 to 4 hours on AC power, which is actually faster than a full EV for regular home charging. But on a road trip where you want to add range quickly, the pure EV's ability to accept high-power DC charging is more relevant. Verdict: depends on use case. DMI hybrid charges faster at home due to smaller battery. Pure EV has better rapid charging capability for road trips. Hit that like button if you're finding this breakdown useful. It helps reach more buyers who are wrestling with exactly this decision. Factor number 3. Driving experience. Pure EVs deliver a fundamentally different driving experience from any hybrid. Instant torque, pin drop silence, and smooth linear acceleration characterize the BYD Seal, Atto, 3 electron volts, and Dolphin. The absence of engine noise, gear changes, or any combustion sensation creates a serene, modern driving experience that buyers who switch from ICE vehicles consistently describe as transformative. It's not just quieter, it feels fundamentally different in a way that is very difficult to describe without experiencing it. The DMI hybrid is also notably quiet. BYD's engineering ensures seamless transitions between electric and hybrid modes. But at higher speeds, on highways, or when the gasoline engine is engaged, the ICE element is audible, and the driving experience is closer to a conventional car than a pure EV. This isn't a criticism, it's simply a factual distinction. For buyers who prioritize the pure EV sensory experience, the DMI system, while excellent, cannot fully replicate it. Verdict: pure EV wins on driving purity and sensory experience. DMI hybrid is very good but not equivalent. Factor number 2: government incentives and registration costs. This varies enormously by market and can significantly affect the economic analysis. In many markets, pure EVs receive superior incentives over plug-in hybrids. In Australia, several states offer stamp duty exemptions and registration fee waivers for pure EVs that don't apply to hybrids. In Europe, many countries provide higher purchase incentives for zero-emission vehicles than for PHEVs. In China, both categories receive strong support, but the pure EV incentive structure has generally been more generous. You need to check the specific incentive regime in your market before making a final decision, because in some markets, the incentive differential between pure EV and PHEV is large enough to override other factors. An extra $5,000 in government rebates for the pure EV might more than offset the higher base purchase price of the EV variant. Research your local incentives carefully. Verdict: varies by market. In most markets, pure EV receives superior government incentives. Factor number 1: the bottom line. Which one is actually right for you? Here is the honest decision framework. Choose a BYD pure EV. If you have reliable home charging, you drive primarily within 300 to 400 kilometers per day, your local charging infrastructure is reasonably developed for longer trips, and you want the lowest possible running costs and environmental impact. The pure EV is the better long-term choice for most buyers, with these conditions. Choose a BYD DMI hybrid if you don't have home charging or have unreliable access to it, you frequently take long-distance trips that exceed practical EV range, you live in a market with sparse public charging infrastructure, or you simply aren't psychologically ready to manage charging as part of your routine. The DMI is not a compromise. It's a genuinely excellent vehicle with extraordinary efficiency and range. For buyers in those specific situations, it is the smarter choice. The good news? With BYD, there is no bad option. Either choice gives you a technologically advanced, well-built vehicle that is dramatically cheaper to run than a conventional gasoline car. The decision is about optimizing for your specific circumstances, not about choosing between good and bad. Purchase price, total cost of ownership, range anxiety, home charging situation, environmental impact, maintenance costs, charging speed, driving experience, government incentives, and the ultimate decision framework. Whether you choose a BYD pure EV or a DMI hybrid, you're choosing a vehicle that is genuinely ahead of most of the competition. The only wrong decision is agonizing so long that you keep driving a gasoline car you could have already replaced. Hope you liked this video. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for more informative electric vehicle content. Thank you for watching.